Yo, my brothers, my sisters, and my ballers, welcome back to another match day of What's Football with our fans, with your favorite social football analyst, Tepiso Pizzi, aka Tepzoro. To the ballers passing by, I hope you like what you see because I surely like what I do. And make sure to join the returning ballers who continue to show me gang love and appreciation by liking, commenting, as well as to subscribe. The FIFA Women's World Cup is next door, literally. When I say next door, it's in the southern hemisphere, but most importantly, it kicks off in 2 days' time. Co-hosts New Zealand as well as Australia will play both their opening matches on Thursday, and I'm gonna dissect how I see Group A to Group D finishing. Let's kick off with Group A, which has one of the favorites for this tournament in Norway, kicking off the tournament against co-hosts New Zealand, as well as having Switzerland and the Philippines. I'll speak on Norway first. Norway needs to bounce back in this tournament. Having been embarrassed last year in the Euro 2022s in England, with them losing 8-0 to England in the group stages before being knocked out in the group stages. They certainly need to bounce back, and their squad has lots of quality in attack, with Gera Reiten of Chelsea having an immense season this season, being one of the most improved players. Ada Hegerberg is back in the ranks for Norway. As we know, she's one of the best strikers in the world, and for a change this season, she has had some injuries, but as compared to other seasons, we'd like to think the deep injuries are behind her now. And we cannot forget Caroline Graham-Hansen, probably the best winger in the world, the most skillful winger in the world, who applies a trade at Barcelona down the wing, showing dust, but for Norway usually plays in a central attacking role, having a free role behind the striker and drifting out wide. I see Norway finishing top of the table against New Zealand, and unfortunately actually beating New Zealand in the first game in their own backyard. Philippines will be a fairly easy game, and then Switzerland will also provide a test for Norway as well. But in saying that, Norway should finish number one, and I'd like to think New Zealand, being the home team who are competitive, can get a favorable result against Switzerland, as well as also beating the Philippines. Obviously, New Zealand have a coach who South Africans may know, it, Vera Pauw, who used to be our coach before Desiree Ellis took over. And they've got a decent squad to potentially take them into the knockout rounds. But in saying that, it'll all be between Switzerland and them to see who follows Norway into the last 16. My prediction is Norway will go through tops, and then New Zealand and Switzerland will have to battle it out, in me leaning towards Switzerland, and then obviously Philippines will finish at the bottom of the barrel. Group B is an enticing group. Australia, Canada, the Olympic champions, Republic of Ireland, the debutantes, and Nigeria. On paper, this one is a tough group to call, even on paper. You know, we've seen Australia grow in leaps and bounds, having another player who I can name as one of the best strikers in the world, and probably the face of this World Cup in Sam Kerr, as she's also been a cover girl for FIFA 23 and has one of the highest ratings going into EA Sports 24. She is the Matilda's biggest hope for this World Cup. She is the country's biggest hope in steering the Matildas deeper and deeper into the tournament. They've done well this year, having won against England in a friendly in April, in England 2-0, and last week beat France 1-0 at home in front of a 50,000 crowd. They open against the Republic of Ireland, who gave France a run for their money recently. A week ago in a friendly against France, even though they lost 3-0. It was a competitive first half with nothing to separate the two teams until goals were scored late on in the first half, and then France eventually showed their class in the second half. I see Australia beating Republic of Ireland and then facing the tests of Nigeria. You can never underestimate Nigeria. Probably Africa's most toughest team and the best team from Africa in terms of women's football. Oshoala will be leading the pack. She'll be leading the Super Eagles, aiming to lead them to victory in Australia and New Zealand. That'll be a tough game between Australia and Nigeria, and last but not least, Canada, the Olympic champions, who have been shaky recently with the Football Federation of Canada going through a tough time, reporting bankruptcy. The female team has also faced disputes against the FA with regards to the bonuses that should be paid, which has happened to multiple footballing nations going into this World Cup. England has had a dispute, as well as Banyana, which I'll share more light on. But in saying that, there's talent in the Canadian squad. Ashley Lawrence is there. Sinclair is still there, leading the line, with it being her 6th World Cup appearance. Jessie Fleming will also be there. Keisha Buchanan in the back line. They show that defense wins tournaments at the Olympics, where they beat Sweden in the final, and that could also be their backbone, which could help them in this World Cup. It really is a tough group to call. In my opinion, I see Australia going through, and in saying I see Australia going through, I'm not even able to say they'll go through as first, but I just see them going through. The most interesting game of this group stage, for me being an African and being South African, is more Canada versus Nigeria rather than Canada versus Australia, which may probably decide the other team that goes through. But in the same way, Nigeria could be the ones topping the group, and Australia versus Canada could decide who goes through, or even Australia versus Nigeria. But in all honesty, I don't see Ireland going through. And in saying that, my prediction is, with what's happening at home for Canada, will be a huge distraction for them. So I'll say Nigeria and Australia qualify for the last 16. Moving swiftly along to Group C, with there being Spain, the reigning world champions at under 17 level and under 19 level and under 20 level. Can they do it at senior level? Obviously, the under 19 Spanish national team is also the reigning European champions, with one of the fellow players who featured in that tournament, as well as the under 20 tournament, being a key player now for Barcelona and Spain, in Salma Carrobelos. Yeah, I struggle to pronounce her surname. But yes, what a talent for the future. And it's great to know that Alexia Putellas is back, with her gaining some match fitness over the friendlies that Spain has had recently, facing Denmark and beating them 2-0 away, then having easy victories, in all honesty, against Panama and Vietnam, winning 7-0 and 9-0. Everyone's getting on the score sheet. They're showing dust in that beautiful coral football shirt. And a part of me would like to see them win the World Cup, although they are not my pick to win the World Cup, but the talent is there. Obviously, there's been the dispute with the players who had taken a sabbatical, if not retired from the national team, with 15 players being out, but 12 having come back, with Maria still being out, Claudia Pina, as well as Ivan Paredes. But Mapillon, confused the two, Barcelona centre backs. But Mapillon is there, Jenny Hermoso's back, Bomanti will control that midfield, Alexia Putellas will show dust in attack from midfield. There's just a lot of talent there, made up of Barcelona and Real Madrid. But we know Barcelona as the reigning European champions and continuing to show dust in their domestic league. And now we need to see it shown on the international stage for the Spanish women. Their toughest game in the group will probably be against Japan, who are former world champions. And then we cannot disregard Zambia, who recently beat Germany in an upset 3-2. You know, Banda has a lot to prove and has a lot to show the world in this tournament. I think she will be a shining light for Zambia, and she could cause many surprises when Zambia plays Japan. Zambia could even test out Spain. You never know. With the team that I've not mentioned is Costa Rica. Unfortunately, those are going to be the whipping girls of this group. It's unfortunate to say that, but yeah, you know, there's always that team in groups, whether it be Champions League, Men's World Cup, Euros. It's also going to apply here in the World Cup, and that is the first team that Spain plays against on Saturday. I'm already predicting 5 goals there. This is going to see net, Bomanti having fun in the midfield. I can't wait to watch Spain against Japan, and then also see how hard Zambia challenged Japan and Spain. In all honesty, Japan has a new generation, which is exciting to see, with the women doing well at previous junior tournaments. If not the previous Under-20 World Cup, before the current one, they were the champions. And Hawara is still there to show in this World Cup. So in all honesty, Spain tops this group quite easily, if I may say, and then I think Japan will just have enough in the tank to overcome Zambia. Although that will be a tight contest between Japan and Zambia. But in saying that, big ups to Zambia and good luck to them. Group D: England, China, Denmark, Haiti. Let me start off with the European champions England, who still have a strong squad, but it's not as strong as the Euro 2022 squad. You know, Beth Mead is injured, the ACL injury, out of the World Cup. Leah Williamson recently got injured in the Champions League against Wolfsburg in the semi-finals for Arsenal. She's also out of the World Cup. The nation's captain, Fran Kirby, couldn't be able to make it fit in time for the World Cup. So we're going to be seeing a lot of new names in attack lifting their hand to try prove themselves, with one of them being Lauren James, who's one of the most exciting players in the world, as well as Alicia Russo, who's recently gotten a move from Man United to Arsenal, and Ella Toon also needs to be mentioned. England still has a great squad, you know. Georgia Stanway still offers a lot in the midfield. Lucy Bronze in the back line will continue to overlap on the right. I'm waiting to see the combination she's going to strike with Lauren James. Millie Bright has just returned to fitness, having played her first minutes since getting injured against Barcelona in the Champions League. She recently played her first minutes against Canada in the 0-0 draw. And that's my other worry with England. The draws. They're not able to score. Drew 0-0 at the beginning of the month against Portugal. Last weekend it was a goalless draw again against New Zealand. In April they lost to Australia 2-0. Sandra Bergman has a lot to do for this World Cup in seeing England lift the trophy. Although the goals will come against Haiti, and I see them also prevailing against Denmark, with, in my opinion, their toughest test being the Asian champions, China, who go into this tournament as underdogs and should not be underestimated. You know, China has always done well in women's football, and it looks like they're going back to the great glory days that they used to have in the late 90s and early 2000s. In my opinion, I see them going through as well as England, with Denmark and Haiti unfortunately missing out. It'll be a shame for Denmark, with Pernille Harder returning back to fitness recently over the last 2 months. I feel like the World Cup has come a little too early for her legs, and I'm not sure if she'll have enough support. You know, they had a good testing friendly recently against Spain where they lost 2-0, but it definitely showed areas that they can improve on. Whether they'll be able to correct them against England, China and Haiti, I'm not sure if that will happen. But in my opinion, England goes through as well as China from Group D. That's where I end the first part of the Women's World Cup group stage predictions, and in the next part I'll speak on Group E, to Group G, where we have many more favorites in USA, defending champions, Germany, France, and Sweden. I hope you enjoyed this match day, my ballers. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, live long.